Hey Margaret, okay, so here is your past life spread. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at where you were, what you did with the majority of your time there, an important day with relationships and feelings, another important day, relationships, feelings, the death, and lesson learned. And we'll get hints of time throughout, okay? So all I'm going to do is relay to you the images and impressions that are coming through, and your job is going to be to try to make connections where you can based off of what comes through here and your current life. And I'll try to help however I can too, okay? So just keep in mind there's a couple of ways to make connections, direct and opposite. Direct connections is when you can directly connect or resonate with what's coming through. An opposite kind of connection is like, for example, if someone, let's say, died of drowning in another life, they may come back and be very scared of swimming for no reason, like that kind of thing, or scared of water. So just keep your mind open when it comes to making connections, but you don't want to force anything. So whatever you may not connect with, you just want to tuck in the back of your mind for a later time, because things tend to connect and click in the days, weeks, months, year later kind of thing after a reading like this, okay? So you might want to grab a notebook and pen. A lot tends to come through. And yeah, let's just go ahead and begin. So first of all, what's coming through right away is we're looking at a male. So this is a male with a masculine energy to him, which right away, any connection you can make with that would be if in your current life you are aware of masculine energy running through you, or I want to say would be dominant, would be a direct connection, or if you were a tomboy or are a tomboy, you know, growing up or now kind of thing. Now the opposite kind of connection would be if you came back and you are very feminine and girly and want to explore and experience the feminine energy, right? So like that kind of thing, you can make a connection already there. But this, what's coming through is a man. There's, just gonna describe what's coming. We'll say he's not, we'll say he's average size. Almost, I want to say if anything like rounded, but it's not like fat. It's like rounded, like just the round, I guess it's what we would call like a dad bod, but like a little bit, yeah. And these details don't always come through, so it's coming through for a reason. And then there's facial hair and dark hair, and facial hair that's not overgrown. It feels like it's kept in a way, like specifically like a goatee mustache thing that is kept. It's not wily and wild, okay? So it feels like, even like, so it feels like, what am I trying to say here? There's a grooming aspect to this person that takes pride in their appearance in the way of being clean rather than trying to look like a magnificent god. You know what I mean? Like, so that's, I feel like that's what's coming through while they're showing me like a dad bod with very, like, very groomed features. Because there's something here about taking pride in certain things over others and understanding that there are certain things to prioritize as far as what to feel good about with yourself and what to judge yourself by. That's what this is feeling like. And this could be coming up in the case in your current life that you might be judging yourself based on, we'll say, physical features or appearances or things like that I want to say that are easily comparable in media or to model, you know, like that kind of thing. Just in the case that you connect in the way that you might be comparing yourself and judging yourself for it, this would be a message to make sure you check in with yourself of what is priority. And quite frankly, what I feel like is priority is health, like health in the way that, like, yeah, he's grooming, but it's hygienic, like that kind of thing. Like, if you are a healthy and hygienic person kind of thing, that's more important than looking like a supermodel. That's more important than having, you know, losing those 10 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And again, this is just for you to connect, whether now or if not, then tuck in the back of your mind for later. But we're looking at a prioritization of what is truly important. Okay. And they're showing me this in aesthetics, but for your current life, I mean, this could be prioritizing your peace of mind over drama that comes with having to, or seeing a friend that you've always seen every week, and there's drama there that doesn't let you have peace of mind, and maybe now it's time for you to have peace of mind and put some boundaries up. You see what I mean? So it's that concept, it's just a concept, and you need to fit it where it applies in your life because it's speaking to that. Where are you prioritizing things that cause you to feel bad about yourself that don't need to be there? that kind of thing. Or bad about yourself, or again, like lack of peace of mind. You know what I mean? Which is also like if you're down about yourself, even in like just comes to personal things, that's not peace of mind. So what can you be doing that allows you peace of mind? Is it people around you that's not allowing it, or is it your own thoughts in your own head? And this could be a message for you if you connect with that you need to start catching thoughts that are not allowing you to feel, I want to say, liberation in your mind and a peace that you could be feeling. Anyway, so just make connections where you can with that. But anyway, this guy is coming through. And so where we're going is Asia. So the Asia card comes through, and it feels like we're being like put in a place that is not, it's not a city. It's not like a hub. It's not, we're not looking at Tokyo. We're not looking at anywhere where it's super crowded. This feels like it is, honestly, it just feels like a town. And it's not like a tiny town. It's like a decent town, but it's a town. So it's not overcrowded. It feels like there's a community there. And it feels like this person specifically has their own property that's outside of the town. And what was coming through actually during shuffling was apple orchards. Am I saying that right? Yes. Apple orchards, walking along like an apple orchard. Or it could be, it's not like it looks like apples, but not like our like red apples. It looks like, if anything, there's like dark apples, like they're darker. And this can maybe even help you find the location, because it feels like the trees have apples, but the apples are dark, like darker than I've ever seen. Even like I want to say like they'd be like, you know, eggplants, how they're so dark. Like eggplants are purpley, kind of blackish. That's what these feel like, but they feel like apples too. So go look up like dark purple apples or something in Asia. That would be helpful. This feels like we are in the mainland though, so it does not feel like we're in on an island. It does not feel like Russia. It does not feel like Japan, that kind of thing. It feels like if you were to go to China, it would be like the very southern part of China, or overlap, like going down into the countries there, which I'm really not sure if that's down there except for Thailand kind of thing. So if you've ever been pulled to that area of Asia to visit, vacation, if you've seen photos that make you feel triggered or emotional when you see photos, or you might see a photo of like a beautiful place, or a place where it intrigues you enough to go find where it is, and it turns out to be southern China or Thailand, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. That's the kind of connection you could be making here. It could be also the culture, the food, the music, the aesthetic, that kind of thing. This feels like we're looking at this. If we were to pick a time, I'm trying to get a time here. I almost want to say like it feels like 1800s, maybe like 17 to 1800s, the cusp over. But it's hard to tell because, I mean, there's like, it feels like there's electricity, but this place we're in is very like humble. It's very just like, it's simple, it's humble, it's lovely, it's peaceful-ish kind of thing. But then there's something about the town that if we were to go there today, it would feel like we're back in time. So that's another thing too, because this could be a more modern thing. Like this could be 20th century, but this town is just kind of removed in a sense where they kind of keep it traditional, if that makes sense. So that could also indicate in your current life, if you are someone that values traditional lifestyle, what am I trying to say here? Traditional lifestyle, but in the sense of like aesthetics as well, like particularly like quaint. If you like quaint things, like that word, if that evokes whatever that word evokes aesthetically, like as a town, a quaint town, that would be a connection if that is the kind of, let's say, place that you've always envisioned yourself living, right? Versus a city. Now, the opposite connection would be if you're a total city girl and you're just like, I want to be in the hub, I want to be in the hustle bustle, I want to, you know, see the busyness and that kind of thing, because that is not what this life is. So our soul likes to expand and experience different things. So it would be an opposite connection if you were more about being part of like that busy city life. So I want to move over here to what we're doing with the majority of the time. So this is the art card. and it means an artist, but there's a lot that comes with artistry. Obviously, you know that. Like, it could be, yeah, painting and sculpting and this and that, but it can also be singing and dancing and also having an artistic eye. And they're bringing me back to the orchard. Oh, which, by the way, if you have a connection with that, apples, apple orchards, or like the idea of like maybe one of your favorite things to do is go berry picking, you know, where you get to go and like take a bucket and you like pay for a bucket to fill up. If that's ever been like a thing that you enjoy doing, or if you've ever wanted to do that, that would be a connection. In fact, that might even be a message for you. Like if you were looking for something to do, something new, a hobby, or like something interesting, or like a cool date, or, you know, that kind of thing, like a thing you can do to spend time with people you love. Go to an apple orchard and pick apples if you can, if there's one near you, or like berry picking, or you know what I mean, or even like flower picking. Like if they have a place where you can go and just fill a basket with stuff, that might be something that you find soothing and fun and interesting and different. I don't know, you know, that kind of thing. This can also be indicating that you have a connection with nature. And not just nature, it might even be like the idea of a green thumb, because this person has a green thumb, and I feel like that's where the artistry is coming through, is the idea of the creation of gardens, plants. Not just that though, it's about functionality with the plants here. It feels like this man, this aspect of you, grows things that provide things. So it's not just growing for aesthetic beauty, like a beautiful flower, a rose bush, which he might, but it feels like it's more focused on things that are beautiful in the way that they also provide. So like an apple tree, right? There's the apple and there's the tree. It's like, it's dual function because it's beautiful and it's edible, right? So however that might play into your life, that just might be something that you find very, what's it called? Important when it comes to even other aspects of your life, that like if you are going to make a large purchase, you might be someone that really needs that purchase like to be what's the word, like industrial, like functional, like if you're going to get a desk, well, you're going to get a desk that is also like it also moves up and you can use it as a draft board, or you can flip it over and you know what I mean, where something has multifunctional capabilities. That might be very intriguing to you. Or it could just be that you are a gardener and you love working in the garden and growing things, but you might be someone that likes to actually grow things you can use, like herbs, right? Like that kind of thing. So we're looking at the concept of how you connect to like a dual plus functionality when it comes to what you bring into your life or what you are interested in surrounding yourself with or working on, okay? Now, this can also be coming through also the feeling of like a message in the case that you are working on a project of some kind, or are thinking of doing something, or maybe you don't even have the idea yet, but you're going to move forward, like you want to like be more hands-on with something that you're creating. This would mean, if you connect, and if not, you know, tuck in your mind for a later time because it might come up soon. This would be a message for you to keep in mind that you might really enjoy or benefit from whatever it is you're creating, making it dual fold, making it like functional on multiple levels, right? So kind of like layering. But anyway, connect however you can with that, but this would indicate that you are a creative person with a creative mind. This can also mean it's coming up in the case that you in your current life are feeling like you're in a stagnant place where you don't feel the flow. And in the case that you know that you want to create, or you are a creator and you just don't feel the flow, this would also, I would say the message is get out to nature, literally, without the idea of searching for an answer. Just get out to nature, plant your feet on the ground, ground yourself, and just be there without feeling like you need to do anything. The feeling here is that you might be doing too much. So in the case that you are doing too much, you need to allow yourself to just be. And that is, there's something about that too, where it's like, even if you are someone where you feel like, oh, I don't really do much anyway, you might want to pay attention to your thought process. And even the idea that I don't do much anyway is a thought of doing. Like it's a thought where it's like you're judging yourself for not doing enough. That's doing. Being is where you're like, okay, I am here in the present moment and I'm allowing myself to accept everything as it is, just as it is, because where I am right now is perfectly fine and good. like that kind of thing. It's almost like meditation, but it's like a conscious meditation where you're not sitting there with your eyes closed. It's not that. It's a present moment meditation, essentially, where you just keep reeling your mind into accepting the moment as it is right now, here and now, okay? Just in the case, you might have also come across the idea of present moment practice. If you have, let this be a confirmation or validation to move towards that and to work on that and focus on that, quite frankly. And I feel like when you do that, though, that's where creativity will flow. Now, if you haven't come across it yet, then try this. Try present moment. Even if you have to look it up, present moment, mindful, techniques or meditate, whatever it is. But it is simply just being in the here and now and just accepting things as they are and allowing things and not judging anything, not judging any thoughts or yourself. Okay. Okay. So this is someone who works on his property. I feel like he actually grows, like the apples, actually, I think at least the apples, he like takes them to market and sells them at the town. I think he's part of a market. He's a market person, which is interesting. I had a market person in another reading recently, but it was completely different than this. Okay, so just keep making connections here. We're going to go to the first important day. So here we have the Mother Nature card, which can be a natural disaster, but it can also be like a natural disaster inside your body, like natural Mother Nature, like inside you. So we'll see what happens. This is the karmic card. So usually when we get the karmic card, it is with people, but it can also be karma with the land or with yourself even, like resolving your own soul's karma. And this can also mean usually that we see this, if it's a person, we see them in your current life. Then the feelings here is betrayed. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Okay, so this is a day where the feeling is that you need help or are expecting help that doesn't come. Okay, so already just this feeling, how you might connect with this is if you have a hard time trusting people, or I want to say have a hard time doling out responsibilities or tasks to people that you feel like, I'll just get it done because at least I know I'll do it right, or at least I know that it'll be complete if I do it. So this would be almost like, I want to say the feeling if you are someone that you have a hard time trusting that people will get their part of the bargain done. So that might mean that you have a hard time working with groups or working with people on projects where everyone has something to do and you could just get it done yourself, like almost like a hard time trusting people really to hold up their end in particular. And then also the idea where there's something about the people that you might value the most in your life would be the people who would show up and help you without you having to ask them. And it might be that these people are very rare. You might just have a couple of people in your life that can happen with, or none at all, because of that's a tricky situation, for someone to just show up and help you when you need help versus you asking. It's hard to find people like that. So this would indicate, because I feel like that's what we're looking at here, is somebody does come to help you, but it's not who you think it is, and the one you thought would come to help you is not helping, and that's where the betrayal comes in. It feels like family. I'm just seeing what's going on. Okay, so this feels like we're looking at it's almost like, let's say you have two sons, is the feeling here. Like you have two sons, they're grown, and they don't live at home. It feels like one lives nearby and another lives in another town that you don't see often. And it feels like on this day, something happens with either it's either a flood. Yeah, okay, no, yeah, it feels like a flood. So it's like, let's say your property gets flooded and you need help draining it. The boy that lives near you in town, he doesn't come to help. And he makes excuses like, I'm dealing with my own stuff, I'm here too in the flood, so, whatever. But it's a situation where it's almost like he lives in town, he doesn't have property, there's nothing to worry about with him. He's just using the excuse because there's something about him being lazy or just selfish or whatever. And then the son comes to town from his town, like the further away son travels like a day and a half to see you to help. without you asking. Okay, so now all of a sudden, lots of emotion, lots of emotion. So we're looking at the idea of this father. You're the father here. And it's the idea of like really seeing your son for the first time as an adult, like the man he's become. It's very emotional for you. And it's also interesting because I feel like this son, like it's almost like I want to say the son that lives in town closest to you has always been babied, or like was the favorite. And then the son that you didn't favorite or didn't baby travels so far in like really bad road conditions to come to see you to help to make sure you're okay. It's this huge shift of mindset you have where you're just like I was taking him for granted and he's been here all along. So it's almost like this feeling of regret or remorse at not funneling your love to this son and funneling it to the other son more. So we're looking at a readjustment of idolization of people in your life, your family. Like, again, we're looking at a theme of reprioritizing. You know how we started off with what you're prioritizing up here as far as like what's important to you? Here we're looking at reprioritizing people in your life. Understanding that some people deserve almost like a deeper look, or a deeper, like some people deserve a deeper look. So again, however you might be connecting to this scenario, there might be someone in your life where they may be doing things for you and you're not really seeing them. And it's not just seeing, it's almost like you might not be appreciating them. And it doesn't mean like saying to them, oh, thank you, you're amazing. You don't have to do that. You can, but it's more about for your own sake, understanding, like for your own sake, feeling appreciation for what people may be doing for you. And this is interesting because it's coming through in the way where this can even be when people treat you, when people mistreat you or make you feel not so good, that is to be appreciated, because when people show their true colors, that enables you to come to a decision-making mode where you can be like, I can have peace of mind if I put boundaries up with this person who's not making me feel so good, and allow space for the people who do, more space for the people who do make me feel good, or even new people that want to come in and make me feel good. You know? It's that kind of thing. And it also might be family. So if there are any family members that you are dealing with in your life that you feel like maybe you bend over backwards for, or you do favors for, and it's not reciprocated. And this is not to say that everybody is a tit for tat relationship and it's all equal. That's not real life. But you're allowed to feel like there should be reciprocation when it comes to certain relationships. You know, like there's always like weird dynamics with siblings, right? Like sisters, like the older one, the younger one, whatever it might be. But there should be mutual respect and love and reciprocation when you're adults, period. Even if you fought as kids, there should be mutual stuff there. Same in a partnership, there should be mutual stuff. It's not always going to be equal, but there should be a mutuality of reciprocated acts of love and respect. And I want to say, if this is coming up and it's making you think of someone in your life who is not giving you that, but that you are giving to them, or, you know, like that kind of thing, then you have to trust that the person coming to mind is it could be the younger son here, you know, as far as the soul goes, but that person you may need to put boundaries around, or you may need to cut out, or you might, you know what I mean? Like spend less time with them, and also get rid of your expectations of them. And also, what if you are getting rid of expectations about what others, about like receiving from others, because, you know, expectations breeds resentments when they're not met. So if you get rid of expectations about them, that also means that you need to stop giving to them too, and start paying attention to the people who give to you, so that you can give to the people who give to you. A beautiful exchange of energy is what we're looking for. So in a nutshell, what you want to look for are the people that what you want to, in your current life, what you want to look for are the people who give you mutual energy transference, you and them. And it doesn't have to be equal amounts, but it has to be mutual. Like, they're given something, if you're given something, you know, versus people who are just taking. So if there are any takers in your life, it may be time to go, you know? And understand, like, this could be, if it's a romantic relationship, if it's, you know, it could be a partner you've had for 20 years, and then all of a sudden it's just like, I'm just giving, and they're not doing anything. Even if I've asked and we've tried and, you know, that kind of thing. Some people are not meant to be with us our whole lives, you know? But this can also be a family member in the sense of a sibling who is not being respectful in the sense of being, you know, mutually respectful, loving, or giving, okay? And giving is not about gifts either. I mean, it could be, but it's time, energy, care, compassion, empathy, that kind of thing, okay? So keep that in mind. And it's almost like I want to say the betrayal card, this aspect of you, it's almost like betraying yourself. This father, by holding on to his love for his preference for his younger son for so long until this day happens, he feels like he betrayed himself. Even, yeah, slightly betrayed the older son too. Oh, that's the older son. But more betrayal of self by not seeing. That's what this feels like. It's frustrating because he's like all this time and he's looking back and he's seeing how the older boy gave and how the father just really focused on the younger boy until this time. And the thing is about this is you cannot blame yourself in your current life. You can't blame yourself for things of your past that brought you to a place now or later where you learn from it. Because the lessons had to happen in order to learn. Those experiences had to happen. So yeah, you're going to feel regret maybe, and you know, you're human, but don't linger in it. Don't blame yourself for too long. Just see what you need to shift within yourself and shift it. You can apologize, you could say sorry, and this goes for other people too, to you. You know, if you're on the other end of this, if you're experiencing the other end of not being given that love or whatever it might be, let's not hold on to grudges of any kind, but if you're on either side, let's just move forward. So if you find yourself either now or in the future, whatever, in a place of transition of that, where you're realizing something about someone or even about yourself, yeah, it could be frustrating and like, you know, oh, I wish I knew, you know, then what I know now, but don't linger in that. Move forward. That's the summary message here is make sure you move forward with the new revelations that you get. Even if it's every single day, move forward. Take that revelation, move forward with it. And just don't regress back. It's that simple. Or it's as complex as you make it, because we're human. We make things complex, but it can be very simple. So anyway, keep making connections here, and I'm going to go to the next important day. Oh, and one more thing about this day, just in the case that if you have a fear of floods, like an irrational fear of floods, like if that's just something you don't like that you thought about and you're like, I don't know why, it could be that. Or it could be that you're someone, if you own property, you might be someone that's like, I need flood insurance, like even if there's no possibility of flooding where you are, you know, like that kind of thing. It's that kind of thing, like just weather kind of issues. So anyway, just a little tiny thing that you may or may not connect with. But next important day here, there is death in this place card, and that is usually the witnessing of a death, not you dying. And then this is the soulmate card, and this is quite capable and incapable. Okay, so it feels like shortly after this revelation, unfortunately, feels like the older son dies. And I want to say it's circumstances like unseen. It's almost like, I want to say like a heart attack or, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing where you don't really see it coming. It's not like he's like failing in health, but it does feel, you know, it's interesting because we said that you had like this guy, this aspect has kind of a large body, and it feels like the son takes after him in that way. But in the son, it feels almost like what you would consider like unhealthy, a heart problem, diabetes kind of thing, like an unhealthy lifestyle. So I feel like that's where we see a younger death. But it feels like you guys, after this revelation, when he comes to help, it feels like there's a lot of effort put into spending more time together. And I feel like you guys, oh God, it's emotional too, but you guys get, I feel like a good 10 years more where all the focus is on the boy now. You get to focus correctly your love on the older child. And it's not like you don't love the younger boy, but it's like you definitely start limiting your affections towards him. And it's not because like, oh, he didn't come and help me, so I'm going to be spiteful. It's not like that. It's on this day of revelation, you see that this younger boy is just kind of spoiled and he's living his own life. And you know what? Just go live your own life. I love you. You're my son. And I'm here for you when you need me. And that's kind of how it went on. So there wasn't spite or resentment. It was just, I need to refocus my priorities on the boy that wants to spend time with me and wants to have moments with me and wants to have experiences with his father, like that kind of thing. It's just like this big like leveling up spiritually, like a big aha, a big revelation. So it feels like you guys get a good 10 years in together, and the soulmate is the boy. It's the boy. See, the soulmates don't have to be romantic. Soulmates can be friends. Soulmates are people we meet and we either, you know, we're together our whole lives, romantically or not, or for a season, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And it feels like you and the older boy here, that's your main relationship, karmic, whatever you want to call it, thing to experience as far as relationships go in this life. Not romantic, but in this life it's about the father-son bond and that love. And the capable card comes in because during this time, it feels like as you are really bonding with him on, you know, such a wonderful level, you had like moments like where you're like, does he forgive me? Will he forgive me? Does he want to spend time with me? Does he, you know, it's like those moments where you kind of dip back into like, God, you know, like, I wonder if he does forgive me for not like quite being present for him like I should have been, right? So that also can be in your current life if presence is very important to you. That's a connection. I know that's important to a lot of people. So what I want to add to that is the best relationships for you in your life, at least currently, feel like the ones where people are emotionally present for you. It doesn't mean they have to be there all the time. In fact, it could be someone you never get to see because they live in another country or whatever, but that they're emotionally present for you when you need them. Those are the relationships, if I were you, that I would focus on or use as a map as far as like what direction to go in when it comes to spending time, effort, energy, love, affection, compassion, whatever on people. Make it the ones that are present for you when you need their presence, right? And this can be romantic as well, you know, just because this is a father-son friendship kind of thing doesn't mean, you know, it's just a different dynamic of a relationship. But this can also indicate in your current life, let's say you're in a relationship and it's not going great, it's likely because that person is not being emotionally present for you at the level that you need them to be. And that could be at a level that is different now than it was then when you first met. And this goes for like any relationship. And if you are evolving and needing emotional presence at a different level, that's not your fault. That's actually you growing and evolving. And if your partner cannot give that to you, it's very likely that that partner was there for you for a season in your life, and it just may be time to move on from that. Now, if you're in a relationship and it's going well, it's likely because that person meets your needs for emotional presence at the level you need them for, if that makes sense. And then if you're not in a relationship, the one you're looking for is one that will, from the start, make you feel secure and safe, that they will be emotionally present for you when you need them at the level you need them to be right away. Okay, there's not going to be any games with that. So just, you know, food for thought, connect however you can with that. This can also, by the way, this whole thing is about a father. So one, a direct connection could be in this current life if you are a parent and if you actually find yourself in a interestingly similar theme when it comes to having a couple of kids where there's a favorite, not favorite, and to make sure you're stepping back. And that's normal for parents to have favorites, by the way. This is not about being guilty, feeling guilty about that. It's about, though, making sure you're stepping back every now and then to really see the kids, if you have kids, to see them for who they really are and who they are becoming and what they may need from you and vice versa. Like that kind of thing. Like just kind of step back and take a big picture look at these human beings that you brought into the world as human beings rather than just your kids. Like that kind of thing. And then on the other hand, the opposite connection could be in your current life if you're like, I don't know if I even want kids. You know what I mean? Like, because here, these kids really like such an emotional roller coaster here that when we see someone like this, like sometimes they, you know, come back and they keep on with the creating family and having kids, or we see people come back and just want to take a break from the family thing and take a break from having kids and, you know, to experience other relationships. Now, this can also be that you're back, and even if you have kids, your focus may be at this time or coming up to focus or prioritize relationships outside of your kids. Even though I know that sounds controversial or whatever, it's not that you're not loving them any less or anything like that, or it's not that you're loving them less, it's that your life is more than just about the immediate family that you have. Your life is about all the relationships you have in your life. You know, like everyone is important for your own growth in some way, for some reason. So just make sure that you are having little experiences outside of your norm. We'll say, like if you do have kids, you're allowed to spend time with friends, go take a vacation, go take a class, you know, meet people. Like you're still allowed to have a life outside of that. And I'm sure you know that, but just in case you need to hear it, that's what's coming through too. But yeah, so just keep making connections where you can with this. And yeah, oh, and then the capable card though, it's normal to feel torn. It's normal to feel like you, when it comes to the relationships, at least, it's normal to feel like you just might not know which way to go, and to feel torn, and to feel back and forth, and to feel like a, you know, successful and then a failure, this and that. It's very human. But what I want to say to that is, one, what we talked about before, go ground yourself, because that will make you feel more aligned, stable, connected, and kind of level-headed kind of thing. But also do know that ultimately you're capable of everything you want to do, all the relationships you want to have, to be successful in the relationships, to mend relationships, to cut ties with people because it's healthy for you and they may be toxic. You are capable of doing everything you came here to do. So if you are feeling pulled to do something in a relationship, no matter what relationship it is, if you're feeling pulled to do it, it's likely that's your intuition and your soul contract kind of coming up with like, all right, it's time to part ways. All right, it's time to spend time here. All right, it's time to reevaluate, like that kind of thing. Like pay attention to that, okay? And you're capable of meeting all of the goals that you made before you came into this life in the first place. You're capable of doing that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be presenting themselves to you at the time that they come, okay? So anyway, food for thought, keep making connections here. And we're gonna go to the death card. This is the accident card. And I feel like at the end there, what is this? It feels like there's a mix of things. So it feels like the accident is something about your body as well. It's almost like I wanna say it's similar to the sun dying. Oh, okay, that's what happened. So with the death of the sun, what happened was, it feels like you slid off of the health, anything about like self-care. It feels like you kind of let that go to the side a bit because you were grieving so hard. It feels like you kind of, let's say you didn't eat so well, or stopped eating, or something about the diet, and then something about the stress and the self-inflicted grieving kind of thing, like not allowing the grieving to let up when it could have. Like when you felt the grief like leaving for a time, you just kind of like clung to it and held it back down because it felt like there's something about guilt here, again, with not giving that son more time, like more affection and more presence earlier on. So you kind of, I want to say it cut your life short by the stress that you endured by clinging to grief and guilt, when you knew you could have released it and had a good, like, happy life despite the death of a son. You could have still found some enjoyment in life, but you like didn't let it happen. So this would be a huge message for you to make sure that you are not limiting your own enjoyment and happiness just because of either things from your past, or even if someone you love has died. You're still allowed to enjoy life to the fullest that allows you to, despite a death, a passing, or losing touch with someone, or feeling like a failure, or you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. Those are choices you can make. So I'm not saying grief is not a choice, but feeling guilty about something is. Because you need to just, if you are someone that kind of feels guilty or holds on to guilt, you know that about yourself, and that is something to be aware of. So when you feel it, you can be like, no, I don't need to feel this right now. It's not helping me. It's bringing on stress, and it's not allowing clarity. And our goal here is for you to have a peace of mind and clarity. So make sure you're not clinging on to guilt or resentment, self-judgment, like that kind of thing. Be aware of if you are, so you can let it go. Okay? And allow yourself also, if you are in a grieving process, you're allowed to grieve however you want to grieve, you know? But it's just with the guilt or resentment, don't cling on to the attaching emotions that attach to grief. You know, like the guilt and stuff like that. And it's normal to do that. Of course, you're human. But just when you're aware of it, just try to let it go or just ride it out. Don't hold on to it, okay? So keep that in mind. Keep making connections where you can here. Also, by the way, if you know there's something that you shouldn't be eating or should be eating, healthy or unhealthy, you know, that kind of thing, this would be just maybe a little message for you. And I'm not a, medical practitioner or anything like that, disclaimer, but make sure, this is coming up for a reason. So if you're aware of any allergies or sensitivities to any foods or drinks, take precautions. And if you're, having too much sugar, or you're not having enough vegetables, or whatever it is, enough water, make sure you just take baby steps at least now for one thing at least after this reading, okay? For your own sake. But yeah, keep making connections where you can here, and we're gonna go to the lesson card. So this is the Dream Big card. So with the Dream Big card, it's funny because when I put this card down, I don't usually look ahead to the cards, but I thought this was actually the Simplicity card, and that's not for no reason when that happens. So it feels like this Dream Big card also is linking to the idea that dreaming big does not mean you have to have a huge life. It can mean that your big dreams revolve around a simple life, a simple, happy life. No matter what others around you might say should be your dream, right? What's coming up is the idea of the American dream. What the heck is that? You know what I mean? Like, everyone is so different. There cannot be just one American dream, so to speak, right? So it's about what you make it. Like, allow your dreams to fit your model, like to fit your ideals. Like, basically, this is just talking about walking your path, even if it's simple, if it makes you happy. So dream big is about happiness. And I feel like if it were linked here, it has to do with spending these 10 years with his boy. This aspect of you with the son, this is the dream. The simple, loving relationship between the father and son that wasn't there before, that he couldn't see before, and making up for lost time as much as he could, but by living presently in this relationship and giving what he could now. And even if it was just 10 years, those were 10 sweet years together. And that's a big dream. Like, that was beautiful. And it's so simple, but it's so simple, but also so consuming, because that's his life. You know what I mean? It's not flashy. It's not, like that kind of thing. So just make connections with that however you can. As far as dreaming big, what does big mean? Big can mean simply happy. Everyone's different. So just allow yourself to walk a path that leads to where you want to go, or at least the path is one that suits your ideals of what is happiness, not someone else's, okay? That kind of thing. So anyway, keep making connections where you can there. But yeah, there is your past life. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to make some connections. And thanks for letting me read you.